My name is Tom Summers with Coldwell Banker Burnett. For those of you who are not aware or have not met me yet, I do these videos on a very regular basis. I'm a licensed real estate agent in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. Today I want to cover, I don't want to overpay for a house. That's the statement I'm getting from a lot of buyers right now, and I'm hearing it with other real estate agents as well. They have clients. Of course, no one wants to overpay for a house, but there are ways that you can avoid that. So you don't want to believe that you're just going in blindly, but it goes back to who you hire. You have to hire a good team. You have to have a good real estate agent, loan officer, inspector, and title person to make sure that this goes correctly. I wanted to give you a couple of ideas of how you can avoid this, because there are several. One of the things I think that's very important, and I've said this to my buyers for years, is let's go out and take a look at homes. I don't care if you buy the first one or you buy the 50th. It doesn't matter how many homes I show you. I do want to show you houses that would work for you. I don't want to show you homes that are $200,000 more expensive than what you can afford, because we accomplish nothing at that point. But given that we're on the same page, I think when you start looking at houses, it really helps to give you that feel for what the market truly is from a value standpoint. You don't have to have 20 years of experience like me as a real estate agent. You can do this just from looking at value when we walk through these houses. And granted, some are going to be more expensive than others in different parts of the cities, because some suburbs command more money or more dollar per square foot than others. But having said all of that, the first thing you want to do, like I mentioned, is look at a lot of homes. You got to get out there and look. So I always say to people, look, we're going to look at 4 or 5 the first time. At the end of that day, you have to choose one. If you're going to buy a house, which one would you buy? The purpose for this is it gets you to clear your head of all of the garbage and all of the homes that don't suit you. Keep in mind the most important one. So the next time we go out, I say, all right, now these next 3 or 2 or 5 we're going to look at, are any of them better than the best one that you saw the other day when we went out? This helps you stay not only motivated in the process, but it keeps you locked in to knowing where you want to live, what you want, how much you want to spend, all the amenities and things that go along with it. The second thing, and I know there are some agents or many that don't do this, but I do this. Before you write an offer on a house, I'm going to go through it and take a hard look at it, just like I was doing a market if I was going to list the home. I'll give you comps of sold homes recently in the area that are similar in style and size with amenities and all of that. So we can figure out about an average per square foot, what's happened over the last 90 days to see if it's trending upwards or downwards. I'll give you all of that information before you even write on a house. The only time that changes is if you're in a multiple offer, but we're not going to talk about that today. We're just going to stick with not overpaying for a home. So before you even write your offer, you're going to have all this information at your fingertips to say, yeah, that $300,000 listing is perfect. It's priced really well. Let's not mess around. Let's write them a full price offer and purchase it. Or it could be like, wow, they've underpriced this house, so we definitely want to do this. Maybe we're a little more aggressive. And the third thing could be, well, no, it's overpriced because it's dated and it needs this and that. And if you look at the 2 houses a block away that sold in the last 3 months, and those were 10 or 15 grand less. So then okay, well, we're not going to give them full price. We're going to offer them lower than full to reflect what is happening with the most recent sales. So you're not going to go into it blind. There's also the inspection. All right. If you uncover something in the inspection that was not shared with you by the seller, and it's not always egregious, sometimes they just don't realize there's a problem with the house, you can always back out of the purchase if you find something that all of a sudden now changes the value of the house. So that's 3 things so far. The fourth one, and most important, is the appraisal. You're going to have an appraisal. If the appraisal comes in low and says this $300,000 house you're buying is really worth $280,000, $285,000, then we can go back to the sellers and say, look, we're not going to pay more for this home than what the appraisal is. Then they have an option. They have to either come down in their price, negotiate with you in some way, or the deal blows up. You get your earnest money back and you walk away and you find a different house. So the only thing that we can't control as real estate agents in the real estate market is if the market fluctuates in value. That's the only time you're going to get caught. And it doesn't happen very often. There are some people who paid a higher price for a house 6 months ago because of how hot the market is compared to maybe what it's worth right now. But it's not a huge slide. It's not something that you're not going to recover from. It's not a crash. But I would also argue that they got a considerably better interest rate than the people who just purchased. So at the end of the day, it balances out. But we put these safety stops in the process to not only help you feel the most comfortable that you can be in this purchase, full disclosure, showing you everything that we know, having inspections, sharing and gathering information for you. It's more about finding the right house and not settling, I think, than whether you're going to overpay or not, because I think it's not easy to overpay for a house. Even during the hottest of times, I had many clients who I would talk out of spending more in a multiple offer situation because, again, I went through, did my due diligence, showed them everything of value that it sold, and said, look, they want way too much. So if you buy this house, you could be setting yourself up for a problem down the road. There's always a way to avoid this kind of a thing, and it has a tendency to take a life of itself in a way. I feel like it when someone starts talking about it because the market's shifting, then everybody gets scared, and it just doesn't work that way. So hopefully this gave you some information today to calm some of your fears and go in there and look for a house that suits you. There's nothing wrong with trying to get a deal and offering less, but don't be scared to pay to buy the house if it's the right home for you and all of this information lines up for you. Until next time, have a great week, and I appreciate you taking time to watch this.